from ToleratedCinematics.com, and today I will be showing you how to create a cool Christmas tree using Particular, just like this one. It's actually a part of a intro template that I made that you can buy on our website, but I will be going over how I created that template with a few part tutorials. I won't be going over how I exactly made it because it took quite long to actually make it, but yeah, right now we're going to cover how I've done those Christmas trees, so let's get started. First thing I've done is create a new composition right here, make it, we'll make it square, so that's 1920 by 1920, and then I'll change it to Christmas tree. Make it around 15 seconds long, and close it, click OK. Now we're going to create a new solid layer here, and I'm going to rename it Christmas tree, just Christmas tree is okay. And also maybe a background layer just to be sure, so BG for background. And okay, there you go. I'm going to place this under my other solid. Click on the Christmas tree, go to effect, and here we do need a plugin, Trapcode Particular, and that's this one right here. And yeah, we do need that one for this tutorial, so if you don't have it, I'm sorry, but yeah, let's continue. For this I do have it. Now we're going to right click, create a new light object. I'm going to make this light type point, and I'm going to rename it emitter because this is going to be the name that Particular is going to recognize. I'm going to click OK, and I will also put this a little bit more towards the bottom, and press P on the keyboard to see its position. Right click and create a new null object as well, and we're going to rename this to center part. This is going to be the center for our light. I will explain in a second. And make this a 3D layer. If you don't see that, just toggle the switches right here. Toggle it, and there we go. So now we have our null object. I'm also going to reposition it more towards the bottom here. So there we go. And this is going to be centered automatically. If we press P on the keyboard, you can see it right here. I'm going to connect my emitter to my null object, and I'm going to zero out the position. Then I'm going to move it towards the left, and let's say we have -450. I'm going to duplicate my light, so we have a second one, and here I'm going to change, press P on the keyboard as well to see its position, and just make this a +450, and this is going to be on the other side of the null, so if this is the center, it's going to be reflecting itself right here. Now what I want to do is click on the center part, press on the stopwatch for the position of the center part, and because these two are connected to that null, they're going to follow with our null. So move ahead like maybe let's say 3 seconds for now. Just position them up here, and we can see that they actually follow along with this null object. We do see that null object has a different Z, so I'm going to zero out the Z here for our position of the light. And I'm also going to zero out the Y here. And actually, currently I'm creating new position keyframes. That's not what I want. I will go to the beginning of my timeline. Well, actually, what am I doing here? Okay, so press U on the keyboard. Okay, just go to the beginning, press P on the keyboard for these two lights, and make sure these two values are zeroed out. And there we go. So now it should be all right. Okay, click on the stopwatch for the position of the null object, go to 3 seconds and move this up, and now you'll see that they have the same Z position. So okay, now we have our lights moving with our null. What we want to do now is actually position these also. So go to the emitter, go to the beginning of your timeline, and also click on the stopwatch for position. Go to 3 seconds, and then just zero these out as well. What it's going to do now is just going to form like a Christmas tree model here. So now our lights move in towards the center. Now I'm going back to my center part, to the null object, press R on the keyboard, and we're going to play around with the Z rotation here. The Y rotation, what am I saying? Okay, the Y rotation, I'm going to click on the stopwatch for the Y rotation, move ahead to 3 seconds, and change this rotation maybe to something like 3. And if we're going to, if you're going to play this back, we're going to get something like this, which is pretty cool. I'm also going to right click new, and I'm going to add a camera to my scene. Just because we're working with 3D objects, we can actually see that my camera is actually moving upwards. What I will do is just press P on the keyboard and just move my camera down a little bit so that it's actually moving center wise. Something like this could work. Okay, I like this. Well, actually, I don't, but we'll see at the end what we'll do. But now we can actually move our camera. Doesn't really matter at this point. I'm going to delete it for now, and we'll see afterwards what we're going to do. So I'm going to close everything down, right click, well, actually click on the Christmas tree for the particular and go to the emitter here. The emitter type, we're going to change it to light, and now it's going to follow along our lines because emitter is the name it's going to recognize. We're going to the velocity, zero everything out here, and now we have something like this. Pretty cool. Okay, I kind of like this one. I will keep it as it is. Go to the particle itself and change the size maybe to something like 3, and just move size random to 100, and also opacity over life. I'm going to just make sure that it's going to be ramped out like this, so it fades out like so. Cool. Okay, we have our particles that are moving out. Now we also want some straight lines. So I'm going to duplicate my Christmas tree here and just zero out the Y here, and also the velocity itself here to 0. And actually I want to do this one first, but as you can see, it's actually pretty cool that we have some particles flying off. So keeping velocity at 100 is pretty cool for the original one. We can also play a little bit with the random percentage here. Go back to the one that's zeroed out, and now we have some straight lines, but you can see that these have some gaps, which could be cool. These could work as the lights that we see, which is pretty cool. But now it's completely up to you what you want to do. If you want to increase your particles and really make them lines, you could do that. Actually, I kind of like it how it's not filled in completely. What I will do as well is click on my lights and actually, and the center part, and I'm going to give them a color like blue. And then I'm going to press Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate everything, put them on top, and just change the color to something like yellow. And now I'm going to rename the emitter. So I'm going to rename it to light, for example. And if we go to the center part, well, it's okay. I'm going to duplicate my Christmas tree here, and I'm also going to change this color to yellow so I know that it's together with this setup. And if we now go to options for that particular, we can actually change the light name here. So right here I can enter light, and now it's going to follow our other lights. But as these are exactly the same as these, you're not going to see any difference. What we can do now is actually press U on the keyboard for all of these. So just click on all of these and press U. And well, we can or change the keyframes, and actually we can just offset it like this as well, depending on whatever you want. But if we press U and we go to the end, for example, we can actually move the null up a little bit or down. Just try to change it up a little bit here. Maybe not center it completely here. And if we go to the beginning, we can offset our lights a little bit more here. So go to the actual keyframe. I'm going to click on this arrow to jump to the first keyframe, and then I'm going to just move this one a little bit more to the right and this one more to the left. And now we have like an offset here of our Christmas tree, as you can see right here, which is also pretty cool. If you click on that Christmas tree here, I'm going to increase my particles per second to something like 5,000. Like so, and I'm going to change my linear to 10x linear, because you can see right now it's not really smooth, and if you're going to change that, it's going to solve that here. The size can be lower than 3, something like 1 should be fine. If we go down here to the physics, we can open that up, go to air, and go to turbulence field. And here I'm going to affect the position a little bit, so we can make it look like this, which is pretty cool. But maybe a little bit too much. To help with that, we can actually lower our scale, and that's going to make it, take longer before it actually does something to our streak here. So now we have something like this, which is pretty cool. We can actually duplicate everything again. Well, actually just the Christmas tree, well, everything again. Just put this on top again, and maybe offset this one. And that way we get something even different here. And yeah, there you go, you get a build-up, which is pretty cool. And of course, the more you stack, the cooler it becomes. And actually, if you want the project files, they're actually free to download with a link in the description. So you can go to our website, freebies, and then you will have the project file that I use in the intro, completely free. So yeah, if you want that, just go and check it out. But yeah, this way you get a cool Christmas tree. Right here we have completely. And of course, after this, we wanted to go to, well, we wanted to stop emitting any particles. So we go to the end here of all the keyframes and go to each particular, click on stopwatch, move ahead 1 frame and just zero it out so it doesn't emit any particles anymore. So if we are going to press U on the keyboard, you can see it right here. That's going to stop emitting. So we should actually do that for each individual one. So move 1 frame and zero it out and go to the other 2. Go back 1 frame, and actually I'm using page up and page down to do that. So click on the stopwatch, page down, zero out, and now we get something like this here. If we zoom in, there we go. And then lastly we have one more, so page up to go 1 frame forward again, 0, and then well, actually at the beginning it should be 100, and then here it should be 0. Okay, so now we have our Christmas tree without emitting any particles once it's done. So actually a cool trick, if you hold Control H, well, Control Shift and then press H, it's going to remove this for a second so you can actually see how it looks completely. So that's pretty cool to work on it. I'm going to layer, new adjustment layer, and I'm going to add some glow here. So before I do that, go back to the project manager, click here, alt click here, so we get 16 bits per channel, or maybe even 32. Go back to the adjustment layer, effects controls, and just add some glow here. So if we add glow, we will get something like this. Of course, I'm going to lower the intensity, something like 0.1, duplicate it, change this to 100, duplicate it again and change it to 1000, for example. Well, maybe 500, and increase it and play around with the intensity until you get something like this, which is pretty cool. And now we can actually add some color to it. So if we're going to click on the adjustment layer, I'm going to use a plugin which is free from Video Copilot, which is called Video Copilot VC. Color Vibrance, which gives a cool color like this. You can do this with the curves as well. But yeah, it's pretty cool to have it like this. And now we get some color like a green Christmas tree. And actually, if you want to, you can do one last thing, like copy once again the center lights and the Christmas tree, duplicate it, move it up, and actually I'm going to make them red right now, and click on the Christmas tree. And here I'm going to press U on the keyboard, go to the keyframe where it says says the actual amount of particles emitted. I'm going to change this to something like 50, and I'm going to lower everything, so zero out the velocity, everything should be 0. And then also for the effect position, also 0. And I'm going to increase the size here to something like 25. Just a cool experiment that I'm trying out here. Maybe something like 15. And change the sphere feather to 0, so we have hard spheres like so. And actually I'm going to lower this even more to something like 10. Or even 5. And now we could actually duplicate, or well, actually copy all the settings that are on our adjustment layer. So Control A to select everything, copy and paste it on our Christmas tree. And now we have glowing green balls, but if we change this to red, we get some red Christmas balls in our tree here. So that's also pretty cool. Of course, you can go into particular and change the color itself here a little bit, so it's a little bit darker, depending on whatever you want. You can do that right here. So that's pretty cool to do something like this. Yeah, just come up with this right now. I'm not sure if you like it or not, but yeah, just thought of mentioning it. Maybe add a little bit more feather. Okay, so this way you can build up things. Maybe you want these to be gold or maybe some silver kind of look. And also for the Christmas tree, you want it to be gold, you just change this to a gold color here. And there you have it. Of course, I don't really like these balls. Just wanted to show you how to do it. But yeah, right here, adjustment layer, just make it a little bit more warm toned. There we go. So that's how we do it. And now you can play around with the glow and yeah, maybe make it even more intense if you want to, and you get something like this. So pretty cool way of making a Christmas tree to animate on screen using Particular. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And actually, if you create a new camera right now, we can actually rotate around it. So it's actually 3D perspective here. So we can go here in the camera settings. You can orbit around if you want to. Actually, I'm going to change this to quarter. See, you can actually turn it around, spin it around. Yeah, so there you go. Pretty cool Christmas tree. Let's see how it looks like this. This also is a pretty cool effect you can use for different kind of results. So yeah. That's my tutorial for today. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, also subscribe to the channel for more. And yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.